Dear YouTube, you probably clicked on this video because you want to hear more about what happened today at the FIDE World Rapid Championship. I am participating there, and today a lot of things happened and it had a lot to do with my shoes. So we will talk about that throughout this video, but as I always have been focusing on my chess, doing the recaps, making sure that I learn about my games, I learn about my mistakes, and I'm here for the experience, for the chess, and I just want to become a better chess player. But today a lot of things happened that kind of made me struggle a lot in my chess, but we'll get over that in the recap. But yeah, I want to put emphasis on the fact that we will have this recap about my games today, but along the recap I will also share what happened today in this tournament. So in round 5 I was playing against Nadia Toncheva. She is FIDE master from Bulgaria, super strong player, and I prepared against her where she mostly plays e4. At least I didn't check properly, I was a little bit too tired this morning, but I was very certain she would play e4, so I was hoping to play my French, but she hit me with 1d4. So yeah, that was not really nice to see, but it happened anyway. So I just played d5, and yeah, this is what happened. By the way, we just scrolled through the most important moments because it's a lot of games to go through. So I'll just quickly go through the opening and skip until the part where it gets interesting. So e6, knight c6, simply developing moves, nothing too crazy about this. She's trying to launch an attack on the king side. You will see very shortly. There we go, g4, she's attacking me, and it's pretty terrifying. By the way, I had to play a6, I believe, because I wanted to stop any sort of bishop b5 or knight to b5 type of moves. So that's why knight takes e5 is now played, and that's why I played a6. So looks a little bit ugly, but I had to do something about this. So d takes e5, she didn't take with the f pawn but with the d pawn, which makes sense. Knight to d7, and I was hoping that my position was fine, but apparently b5 is not a great move. And after knight e2 I realized why, because now this square on d4 is super weak. c5 could become a weakness at some point, and essentially all my dark squares are really bad over here. So yeah, that's why b5 was not so great, but I still thought I had a really good position here. Don't want to take this pawn, looks very scary for my queen. I do not feel comfortable over there on the queen side. Here I wanted to trade the bishops and b4, and I was feeling really confident here because I have really good control over the queen side. I have a lot of space there, and I want to focus on getting the c file, taking over the c file. So h4, she's focusing on the king side, and I thought that okay, I have to do something on the queen side. I did consider going back to d8 to attack that pawn h4, but anyway, I didn't think it was gonna be anything good enough. So anyway, queen a3 is what I played. Rook d1, and here I was taking control over the c file, but it was not enough because, as you can see, this knight over here is just a monster. It's covering that square c2 really well. So yeah, I don't really have any access entry points over here. So anyways, king f2, she's really focusing on that king side attack. She wants to involve the rooks very soon on the h file because she is trading over here on g6 very soon. Right here. Took a while, but yeah, even though one pair of rooks have been traded, she is still going for the h file, and she has a really good attack over here. She plays e4. Here I had to retreat to a5 with the queen to protect that pawn and try to get the queen involved, because now the queen is not doing anything over here. But yeah, I was running low on the clock over here, knight b6, and well, that was not so great, but I didn't really know what else to do. And here I just simply collapsed f takes e6 and rook g7. And yeah, this was not looking good for me. Not looking good. I tried to swindle my way out of things because it's not so easy to convert this, because if you just play moves very carelessly, like queen h6, I'll give a check, and maybe I'll find some way to play around here. But anyway, she played it very precisely, knight d4, and she played queen f6, and here I was like, yeah, it's enough. I'm just going to resign here. This pawn is moving up, lots of threats in the position, and she just played amazingly. I don't have any checks of some sort, so that's why I resigned here. My opponent played super well, tough loss, but yeah, I guess when she played the move d4, that was a really good decision of her to play d4, because essentially things went wrong early on, slight minor mistakes, but yeah, at the end, it was really hard to deal with the position, and things just got worse progressively. So, good game by my opponent. Now, let's talk about what happened after this game. So, after this game ended, I was approached by one of the arbiters, and they told me that my shoes are strange shoes. They look like sports shoes, and I was like, what is strange about my shoes? You know, because I really like the shoes. They were a gift from my sister years ago. I barely ever wear them because they're fancy and they're not everyday type of shoes, you know? So I wear them for special occasions, you know, or like, yeah, mostly special occasions when it looks good on the outfit or something like that, but not just every day. So yeah, I really thought that my shoes were like pretty cool, but okay, the arbiter was not really agreeing me on that. But she also mentioned that they were sports shoes, and that's why she requested me to change them. And she asked me like, can you please change them? And I'm like, I don't have anything with me right now, and my hotel is across the river, which is either a 30-minute walk or 10-minute by car, which I don't have obviously here. So yeah, I can't just change my shoes right here. So I also made the argument that these are not sports shoes. Like, you can't wear them at sports. It's, I don't know. Anyway, I made it clear that these are not sports shoes, and I did also not mean to wear them as sports shoes. I don't know. Really strange stuff. So anyway, she brushed it off, and she's like, okay. So I thought, okay, this is strange, but we'll see. So then game 2 happened. So in game 2, I was facing Mitra Hejazipur. I'm so sorry for the pronunciation if I did it wrong, but I know her as she is part of the French national team, and she played amazingly. I remember from the European Team Chess Championships. So when I saw that I was playing against her, I thought, oh, that's quite a tough challenge. She seems super strong, but I was also very excited to play her. So let's see how this game went. E4, C5, knight f3, E6, and we have a Sicilian on the board. And here I play this G3 line, so we are now in some sort of time enough as I put my bishop on G2, and here we go. So bishop C5, queen D3, just developing here, bishop F4, so I'm provoking her to play D6 because any other move is just not great at all. And here knight A4, and here she made this really interesting move, knight H5, counterattacking my bishop. We trade off the bishops, and here I thought I was really happy because I'm winning a pawn. I do have double pawns over here, so I was not sure if I had an advantage already, but I was certainly feeling very confident here. D5 is what she played. I took because I thought that if I play E5, she will hit me with F6 at some point, and my king is pretty weak right now. So it was difficult to decide what to do here, but I decided to take. E takes E5, bishop takes, and queen takes. And okay, my king is very exposed, but I still thought that I would be fine because my light squared bishop is here. Queen can go to G3 as soon as I play king H1. Make sure to not drop this tactic with rook G6. So rook H6 happened, I defend, queen D4, I develop my rook, and she also develops her bishop. Here I play bishop E4. I certainly didn't want to take on E6 because I thought that this bishop is really strong of mine, and I just want to prevent rook G6 from happening, really. So here F5 was played, and here I went back and I thought, okay, if she plays this pawn up, I was feeling confident because I thought that this pawn is actually quite a nice shield for me. So queen G5, rook G6, queen E7. Here we see some trade happening. Actually, in hindsight, I was so sure that I wanted to take with the king. Like, I remember calculating taking with the king, but for some reason, like, I automatically moved my rook because I'm thinking that I'm attacking this pawn and it's really good to attack that. But I really wanted to take with the king in my head because I'm attacking that bishop. Maybe I get to play rook d8 at some point. I really liked, you know, the practical chances I had there. But yeah, for some reason, I took with the rook. So, oops, I went a bit too fast there. Bishop takes a2, bishop takes b7, lots of trades happening. I'm still feeling very confident because I have a passed pawn, right? And this pawn on f3 is quite a weakness. So queen f6, takes, rook a1, and here we are pretty low on the time, both of us. I took another pawn, so now I'm up a pawn. And yeah, I was feeling very confident because this pawn is quite a weakness. She has an easy time defending this with bishop g2 coming in very soon. But I thought that this looks very good for me. So rook a4, g5, she's trying to get on the first rank, but I have, luckily enough for me, I have enough moves to cover that. I also have the move h4 or h3 to play to free my king, but she played g5, so she's trying to stop h4, but I still played it with the reasoning that I take on f3, rook f4 check, and here we have a rook endgame where I'm up a pawn, and I thought that these two pawns were good enough to win because the pawn h4 doesn't seem to be of much use. But after a few moves, she also offered a draw somewhere here, but I thought that I at least should try a couple of moves to see what's going on and if this is actually a draw, because I guess it's hard for me to lose here, but I'm sure there are games that have ended badly from White's perspective. So rook c5, king f3, we repeated moves. I mean, you can see on the clock I was playing on second, so I could use some extra time. But I was also struggling to make progress here, and after quite a few moves over here, I lost the pawn, and then we repeated moves, and I offered a draw, and she accepted it. So all in all, I was really happy with the result, not just because, I mean, my opponent is super strong, so it was a big honor to play her, and she played super well, and I was really happy to have made a draw against her. I sort of thought I had chances, but looking at the analysis now, I'm like, oh, apparently I had 0 chances. We both played a perfect game, which is really amazing to see. But what I also wanted to point out is that during the game, I saw, so a little bit of context. So in this tournament, there are a lot of boards, and a lot of arbiters are taking care of the matches. And each arbiter has assigned to them more or less 10 boards or something like that. They're walking around with the pairings of the 10 boards they are taking care of. And I see this arbiter that is assigned to my board walking around with his, paper sheet and like on this thing, I don't know what it's called. On top of that paper sheet, I see a big yellow sign stating official warning, blah blah blah, dress code, blah blah blah. Like, it's a huge yellow sign that you just can't miss, and I see it like in the corner of my eye. It's like a flash, a flashlight in your face, and I see in big letters official warning, and I already know this is going to be for me because he's walking around. No way that in those 10 boards someone else allegedly violated the dress code. It's probably been me because they talked to me about this. So during the game, I don't remember which specific moment, but like during the game, a lot of my time was spent both on my turn and my opponent's move, thinking about what is going on. What do I do if I get this warning? What am I going to do? Am I going to change shoes? How do I get to my room? Do I get expelled from the tournament? Like, so many thoughts are just racing through your head because you just know that this is meant for you. So the game ended, and the arbiter approaches us to fill out the correct result, and he hands me over this sheet of paper, plastic, saying that I got the official warning, and I am very surprised, and I'm saying that why? Like, I'm not wearing sports shoes. I'm not. And he is basically forwarding me to another arbiter, one of the higher ups there. So I go to this person and I say, no, I'm wearing normal sneakers. Like, normal sneakers is allowed. Sports sneakers, this is not sports sneakers. So essentially they all think it's sports shoes. I don't know why. I don't understand. In my vision, sports shoes are very different. These shoes cannot be used for sports whatsoever. So I was very confused, and she essentially told me to talk to Pavel Tregubov, one of the higher ups in the tournament, taking care of things. And I thought, okay, so maybe I can find some common ground with Pavel, and hopefully this fine will be, reversed, and everything's going to be fine. But okay, I was still very stressed about the situation, the fact that I had to deal with this, and yeah, it made me feel pretty terrible anyway. So yeah, after this game, so after this, I left the playing hall and I went to look for Pavel. But okay, I was basically told to look for Pavel, but it's a very big venue. Where on earth do you find him? So my friend helped me to reach out to him, and we asked him where to meet, and he came towards me, and we started to talk about the situation. So I'm telling him that I got fined for this. These are not sports shoes. Like, what is the problem? I don't understand. And essentially the conversation went along the lines of, these are sports shoes. We do consider them sports shoes. They look like sports shoes. And I had to explain, I was asked, why would this not be considered sports shoes? And I'm explaining that the bottom part is very thin. You can't run on this. You can't do any sports on this. It's just flat sneakers. Sneakers are allowed in this tournament, and that was also, by the way, highlighted by the CEO of FIDE on his Twitter page, where he mentions that not all sneakers are banned. So I was very certain actually before today that these sneakers are okay because they're not used for sports at all. By the way, let me real quick grab the warning I got and the shoes to show you what we're talking about. Okay, so this is the warning that I got. It reads, official warning, you're issued the warning for not complying with the official dress code. You will be charged a 100 € fine. Committing further infringements, I can't speak, will result in not being included in the pairings for the next round. So I'm seeing this and I'm like, what do I do? Because I just can't change my shoes right now. I also don't feel like I am violating any sort of dress code, because it clearly says in the dress code that you can't wear sports sneakers. These are not sports sneakers. Let me grab them real quick. I don't know. I tried explaining to Pavel that this is not something you want to run on, do any sort of sports with, and they're just sneakers. They're Burberry branded. Not that the brand matters, but I thought that they're like fancy, classy shoes that you don't use for sports. So yeah, anyway, he asked me the question that it's really hard to measure like the thickness of things and stuff like that. And I'm like, if it's so difficult to measure, then why is this a rule in the first place? Because that basically means that if you can't measure it, if it's a sports shoes or not, that basically means that the rule that you're saying is very subjective. So the fact that this was very subjectively decided and not objectively makes me really upset about this, because essentially they can go to anyone else and say, yeah, you're fined because we don't think that your shoes are proper enough for this tournament, not according to the dress code. That, I don't know, doesn't make much sense to me if these shoes are not allowed. And just to illustrate the actual sports shoes that I have over here, these shoes, they are clearly sports shoes, as you can see, because they're super thick. They're supposed to be for running, and it's just different. You have this bottom part is exclusively there for, it's there for comfort. And I was trying to explain to Pavel that the other shoes do not have this type of comfort at all. In fact, walking a lot on those shoes hurts my feet. So yeah, I don't know. Anyways, we could not find common ground there. He showed me someone else's example that was showing whether these shoes are okay or these shoes. And the shoes that were not okay were clearly very similar to my running shoes. So I thought, this doesn't make any sense. It's like completely different. And for those people that are saying, yeah, you should have discussed this beforehand, sneakers are okay. Half of the tournament hall is filled with sneakers. Arbiters are walking around with sports shoes, for that matter. And my shoes, I don't see anything wrong with it. And also the tweet from Emil made me feel like this is completely fine. And I'm here to play chess. I shouldn't have to worry about a dress code that I'm not trying to violate on purpose or something, you know? I'm not going there in like a clown outfit or something like that, trying to disrespect the tournament. No. So yeah, anyway, after this conversation, so I was basically told that, so regarding the €100 fine, it may be lifted, may not, no idea, but they offered me that I could play the next round, so I would play, round 7, and after that round, I would have to leave by car to my hotel, change, and come back for the final round of today. So I was like, I mean, you know, like the fact that I should be glad that I can still participate in the event just because of these shoes, like that doesn't sit right with me. But like in the moment, like I feel hopeless. I feel like everyone is like against me or something. So I was like, okay, fine. Like just like at that point, I just don't even want to play anymore. I just feel super sad inside. And yeah, this took quite a hit on my mental for sure. Anyway, so the next round is happening. After all of this, like I tried to recover. I was like in tears and all of that stuff. Super hard to talk about this. Anyways, after all of that, round 7 happened. And at the board, I'm just completely devastated. I'm just there, sitting there, like, I can't focus. My eyes are red. I was wearing makeup. I still have some of it left right now, but I can't just wash my face because then the makeup will disappear. So I was like, this is going to be so awkward. So yeah, I sat there at the board just devastated and did not want to play chess at all. But there I was, I have to play chess, and I continued. So in this round I was playing against Sri B. Savita. She is, I believe, from India, woman grandmaster. And she started with e4. I was happy to play the French, my favorite opening. Bishop e7, knight f3, knight f6, bishop d3. We'll just go through the opening real quick. I was really happy with the position I got here. I'm not taking on c5 because I remember in this chessable course that I have that I have to attack the pawn e5 or something like that. I don't remember clearly, but queen e2, knight takes c5. I took on c5 anyway, but here f6, and I really like my position. This is like the dream kind of scenario you want to have when you're playing the French. Because now bishop f6, and I just have a really pleasant position. You can tell from the clock management though, like the time management, I have 9 minutes left on my clock. I'm in a very pleasant position in the French, but I'm struggling to make moves. So I just want to point out that even though I'm in a very comfortable place, I'm better. I know that I'm better. This is like my home ground when it comes to chess. But I'm struggling to make moves because a million different things are going through my mind. So queen e2, e6, bishop d3, and here I made a big blunder. Yeah, once again, I was not in the right mind, and as soon as I played e5, it hit me that there's just simply knight takes d5, something I was seeing for like a long time, and I knew that there's tactics in position, but yeah, things still happen. I don't know. I don't have much else to say about this. So she took on d5. I can't capture this because of bishop c4 and I lose the queen. So that's why I can't take that. And I tried to go for the initiative. So let's try to find the compensation, right? So bishop e6, and I'm trying to get my way out with my 2 bishops over here. So this pawn on c2 and the pawn a2 are my targets, and after knight c3, I took on d3, and here I was thinking that this pawn is quite a weakness. So after king f1, she gave the pawn back because I played rook takes d3. I was really happy to be able to play this because she didn't take it, but after rook takes d3, bishop c4, and if she defends that rook, she will get hit by my rook on d8, and I will be taking that rook on the next move, and she can't do anything about that. So bishop e3 was played. Bishop here. I was struggling to find my way in his position because I really thought that I had such a good position that there must be something here, but my opponent played super well here. Knight to d5. I traded off the rooks and king of 7 and trying to get my king closer. I knew knight b4 is going to happen. My bishop retreats, and now it looks like I'm losing the pawn, but I have a lot of compensation for this pawn. But yeah, you can see the clock. I am running quite low on the clock. So here I made quite a big mistake. I was super stressed. 15 seconds left on the clock. Apparently here in this position, bishop b4 would have been really nice. I don't know why I didn't think of this. I'm just trapping the rook over here. It's so sad. I knew that b6 was a horrible move, but like in 15 seconds, I was not seeing anything. My mind was elsewhere. So bishop b4 was just trapping the rook, and next move I'm playing b5, I mean. And I do have to be careful that after knight d3, if I play b5, there's knight takes b4, because after b takes a4 taking the rook, there's knight takes d5, and suddenly it's not so clear anymore for me. But in any case, after knight to d3, you have bishop c6, and then you'll capture the rook like this. So that would have been a big opportunity for me, but unfortunately, I played b6, and after this, it went downhill super, super fast. She took my very strong bishop on d5. My bishop retreated, but remember, I'm still down a pawn, and not much that I can do about this position. So I'm just moving my pieces around, but she got to the 7th rank, and now she's coming forward with the king, and turns out that there is a checkmate on the middle of the board. So really pretty checkmate. I do have to give my opponent that. It's a really nice checkmate. But of course, like, I was devastated. I mean, I was so sure that I was better in this game several times. Okay, at least in the beginning, after the opening, I was very sure that I was better, and I should not have lost this game whatsoever. But yeah, what do you do about it? So yeah, I lost this game, and I was just, okay, ready to leave, to go to my room and change my shoes. So yeah, I was told by one of the arbiters to wait for a moment, and I will be brought by car to my hotel. My hotel is across the river, so they have to like go around, and it takes like 5 to 10 minutes, something like that. But the driver was really speeding quite a bit, and I felt super uncomfortable. I sat there like, oh my god, this is not okay. So the driver was speeding up like crazy. Everything had to be done in a rush, and it was really overwhelming for me. And yeah, I just wanted to get this over with. I changed my shoes, I got my heels. I only have 2 pairs of heels with me. Luckily, I packed a lot, but yeah, I was very sure that these sneakers were fine, but apparently they're not. So yeah, I don't really have much left because my actual running shoes are of course not allowed. So anyway, I quickly changed the heels, had to feel very uncomfortable. And yeah, I went back to the playing hall for the next round. Very unpleasant experience. Like, I was feeling so stressed through all of this, and also on top of that, this drive was not safe and pleasant at all. But okay, it is what it is. Also, before I left to the car, I was being interviewed by, I believe, the Norwegian TV. I'm not very 100% sure about this, but they were trying to interview me, and the organizers were like, no, we have to go now, blah, blah, blah. So very stressful all over the place. But okay, anyway, I arrived for game 4 in my heels, and I just feel demoralized. I feel so embarrassed, and like, it's such a moment where you're like, it feels like everyone is watching you because look, this person had to change shoes, blah blah blah. I felt so demoralized, and yeah, I just wanted to go home. Like, I just wanted to go to my room and rest because I was so sick of this entire situation. Anyway, final game, let's get right into it. Playing with the black pieces again against Zilola Akhtamova. I believe she's from Uzbekistan, local player. Talented player. She is, I believe, when I saw it, 15 years old or something like that. I just looked it up real quick, and yeah, she's 1600, but I don't think that rating is correct. Let's take a look what happened. So e4 e6, d4 d5, and she played the exchange French. I don't really mind this, so we just develop pieces, and I'll just quickly scroll through things because not much interesting happened in the first couple of moves. Usually how it goes in the French exchange variation, right? So yeah, a lot of trades. I put my rook on e3, trying to activate things. She pushes my rook back. I am trying to get a hold of the e file. She defends very well. b3, c5. I'm trying to create some play here, because in a French exchange defense, it's just really hard to get anything out of this. It's really trying to squeeze water from a rock. So yeah, I tried to channel my inner Magnus Carlsen here, but yeah, let's take a look what happened. So I took on d4, so a lot of trades happened, but I'm seeing some targets here. I'm seeing some weaknesses. The pawn on d4 and the pawn on a2 are really my targets, and they also seem to be quite weak. So that's why I feel like pretty confident about my chances here. Queen a3, and here she played queen d2. Really funny, by the way, it's also mentioned as a line, is that my opponent, she moved the queen to e2, but she didn't let go of the queen. But this would, of course, drop the pawn on d4. So she realized this as she wanted to make that move, put the queen back, spent some time again, and then she made the move queen d2. So this is all allowed. Once you let go of a piece, you cannot put it back or change your mind or something like that. You have to press the clock and the move is made. But she was holding the piece, so that means like she can put it back and she can move it elsewhere, but she does have to move that piece, which she of course did. So yeah, knight b4 was played, and she found some really nice counterplay here, and she's essentially trying to get on c8 to give a repetition. So here h3, and my king cannot escape this. But after some calculation, so I played king h7 first, inviting her to play queen c8. She does it indeed. And here I played queen b2. So I did not take on a2, which is interesting to note because, well, I didn't want to run into repetition. What I had in mind is to play knight h5. But here I didn't like how away my queen was, and I got a little concerned that I will still run into repetition somehow. Queen f5 check isn't coming. I don't really have any proper moves other than king g8, and then I have to face another check. So that's why I wanted to play a little bit more tricky, try to challenge my opponent a bit more. And I played queen b2 with the idea that I take on d4 with check at some point. Queen h3 check. She took on h5. I take on d4 first with check, so I captured the pawn, which was really nice. I took on h5 back, and she gave a check on f5. And here, so you don't see the clocks, but I do remember spending quite some time here on what to do. I was really tempted to play king h6, but I got really concerned about my king. It is one thing I learned in chess, is that you should never put your king so far ahead in position when there is a queen nearby, as well as a knight coming up to g3. So I thought, bad idea, let's not do that. So I played g6 after long thought, queen g7, queen e6, and here I went for my pass pawn. I pushed it forward and hope for the best, but as you can see, it is simply still a draw anywhere. So I took on g4, queen d8. I'm trying to complicate things, but I believe here already I'm playing on second, so definitely very unpleasant. My opponent still had like a couple of minutes on the clock. I try to complicate things. Knight e1 check, queen h4 check, and she plays all the right moves. I believe here she wanted to play king g1, or somewhere she wanted to make some move again, but she changed her mind, and I believe it didn't matter so much. But yeah, it may feel bad to play certain moves, right? Maybe they're not good enough after all. Anyway, queen b7 check, king h6, queen e4. We repeat the moves here, and I did not want to have a draw, so I played queen g5 check. I moved the pawn up. I'm very desperate, but I do realize that king e2 is simply losing the pawn, and I have no idea how I am saving this pawn. It's simply not possible. So yeah, this would have made me lose the game maybe, but she didn't play it. She played king to e2, queen to e2, sorry. Queen c5 check, queen takes, knight c2, knight d3. Knight e1, I mean, she plays super well. I captured this pawn, and here I thought that I was actually winning because I captured the pawn. I'm up a pawn, I have a passed pawn, but here she has knight d5. So that knight maneuver to c3 and then d5 was really good, and now I have to give up on that pawn because I cannot make any sort of progress. She's taking my pawn at b6 at the same time. So I thought I had to try capture all the pawns off the board, but of course this is very easily drawn as she can capture my pawn at some point with the move king d5, kicking my knight away, which she does right now. And funnily enough, as I am mentioning this, this was the one situation in the game that I was actually winning. So I did consider it for a brief moment, but apparently there's one move here that is completely winning. Only one move. And the move is king to f4. Crazy, right? So I did consider giving up my knight, maybe to push that pawn forward, but I thought, no way. I don't believe it. But turns out that this is completely winning, because after king takes c6, the knight cannot catch the pawn because it is simply too late. My king is covering all the important squares and my pawn is just promoting on the next move. But for some reason, I was very certain that, yeah, this is a bad idea. I did not feel comfortable about this. Also, I was playing on second, so I was definitely not ready to go for this. So I went knight b4 check, which made me lose the advantage. And here she took my pawn. I took her pawn, and I was still very hopeful here. She was making things a bit more complicated because here she could have just played knight f7, g4, knight e5, and take that pawn on the next move. But she moved the king away. Let me go back there. Yes. And yeah, I thought maybe I have some chances here, but unfortunately, after this trade, the king is in time to be on g3, so I don't have the move king h4 anymore. And after a little bit of an attempt to confuse my opponent, she found all the right moves, and after this, we made a draw. So yeah, that was my last game of today. Very eventful day, but not in a good way. And yeah, after this, I got once again interviewed properly by the Norwegian TV, but yeah, I was just devastated, and I was super happy that this game ended, and I just wanted to go to my room. So yeah, all in all, very disappointed with the way that FIDE treated me and the situation. They could definitely have been more lenient with this. I mean, I was aware of the dress code. I was aware that sports sneakers are not allowed. But when I think of sports sneakers, I think of this and not this. These two are very different from each other. And I thought that that was very clear to me, but clearly there is something that we do not agree on between me and FIDE, and I'm really disappointed in the way that they treated this. It could have been easily be handled in the way that, hey, we don't like your shoes, can you please change from tomorrow onwards? And yeah, we would appreciate that, and I would totally have understand that. Well, it's still questionable that they're forbidding this, but I would be like, okay, I will come tomorrow with normal shoes. Well, normal shoes, my heels. Fine. But the way that they handled this is just extremely disrespectful to me. This is a very high level competition. It's a very important tournament, and the fact that they're not treating this tournament the way that it should. I mean, I feel like a player's mental, a player's health, and all of that stuff is above some shoes, some dress code. I did not try to violate the rules on purpose. I thought I was doing completely fine. If there's one thing I hate is being involved in drama, and I try to avoid any sort of this. And one can argue that, you know, why did you even bother wearing this? Well, I thought it was completely fine. And after yesterday, I was wearing heels yesterday, and I was pretty exhausted walking around with that. So I wanted to wear my sneakers that I thought were good enough to wear, but apparently they're not. Anyway, I just hope that in the future this will be handled a bit more with care, because I mean, there apparently a lot of people have been fined. They say so, I don't know about it, but there are some proper sports sneakers. I'm like, okay, I mean, if it says in the rules, it's that way, right? You can't just wear those. But yeah, I felt like my shoes were not in that category, but okay. We all know as chess players how important it is to have a good mental at the board. It decides so much in the game. And the fact that FIDE handled the situation this way, just completely neglecting my mental and the situation, the fact that they care so much about the dress code when there's arbiters walking around in sports shoes, Lots of other players are walking around in sneakers slash sports shoes. I mean, I feel like when I look at those shoes, I feel like my shoes are like the least sports sneakers you can think of. I mean, when I see other players, they have more sports sneakers than I do, essentially. So I don't really understand where this is coming from, and if I'm being fined for this, if I'm being banned, if my shoes are banned, then all the sneakers should be banned, in my opinion. Whether it's a ridiculous rule or not is another story, but I feel like it's generally just ridiculous. Like, I tried to wear these shoes matching with my outfit, and starting from being told that my shoes are strange shoes, up until having to rush to go back to my hotel and change in the middle of the day during the tournament. I feel like things could have been handled much better, and I don't feel like I've been treated well. I got super stressed, I got super emotional because of this, and there's people that don't care about this, that are like, whatever, who cares, it's just shoes, why not change, it's not the end of the world, just play the tournament. But it takes quite a hit on you when you are trying to follow the rules and you're being told that you're not following the rules, and at the same time you're being given this whatever it is, this plastic card saying that you will be charged a 100 euro fine, and on top of that, if you are doing this again, you will not be paired for the next round, which is like not a nice message to receive. So yeah, I feel really disrespected by FIDE, and I really thought that they would handle the situation better, but essentially they kind of ruined my day. I've been having a headache for the past few hours, and I was struggling to play my games today. I was very emotional and not in the right mindset to play anymore, but here we are, and I'll try to shake it off and sleep tonight to be ready for tomorrow. But yeah, I just wanted to share my side of the story. I wanted to share how I've been treated and what the experience was today. I was really happy with the organization so far. Everything looked very nice and smooth, but well, I guess that was I guess it was not 100% true after all. Anyways, I just want you guys to know that I'm still going to play tomorrow. I really want to continue playing chess and learn, and that is what matters most to me in the end. I really hope that FIDE will change their attitude towards this, because in no way should a dress code or these shoes should not be of such big importance that it should come at the cost of my games. This tournament is happening every year. It was not easy to get to Uzbekistan, and I would feel, it's just very sad to have to play the tournament in this way. These kind of things affect me quite a lot, because I'm here to play chess, and I tried to dress up well for the tournament because it's such a big honor to play here and it's super nice and all, but to be thrown this warning at you when you were trying to not violate the rules just doesn't sit right with me, and it's difficult to recover from this. I'm here to play chess and not to break rules or to have to deal with drama or anything like that. I'm really bad at this, and I guess I'm also quite an emotional person myself, so yeah, maybe other players are completely fine with it and dealing with it in better ways, but I definitely struggle with this. So yeah, I just hope that FIDE will take care of things in the future and not have players deal with it in such a way. I want to respect the dress code, and I try to, but yeah, if things are being done in a subjective way, then and I'm being treated in such a way, I feel like that's crossing lines and it's not okay. And also, by the way, one more final thing, I was told that the athletic commission or something like that decided on this, and like that's final and they will decide on things, it will be reports sent, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I essentially feel like I am a criminal. The way that I was treated throughout the entire day, I felt like I did a criminal offense, and I really felt like, you know, being taken away by car and all that stuff in a rush. I really felt like I was a criminal, and I'm like, I'm just here to play chess, and I'm being treated this way for a pair of shoes that I don't feel like are violating any of the rules, and I just try to be fancy and classy. I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, these shoes were, by the way, a gift from my sister, like so many years ago, and I remember it was around holidays, and my sister gave this to me for Christmas / my birthday, something like that. And I remember sharing this to my family, like, oh look, these shoes are on sale, and I was so excited because they looked so cool, and I was like, oh, I love Burberry, I love the brand. So there's some people saying that these are 600-700 euro shoes. No. They're real Burberry, but they're not that expensive, and I got it as a gift years ago for my birthday. So yeah, I sent this to my sister, this whole thing happening, and yeah, she was she was pretty shocked. But yeah, anyway, I tried to laugh it off and brush it off. I mean, I'm still pretty stressed out, and my head is hurting quite a bit, but I try to stay positive and just recover as soon as possible to play better tomorrow. Still happy about my play today, generally, given the circumstances. I really tried my best, and funnily enough, Licha showed me in this game against Mizraheja Zipur that we both had like 5 pawn centime pawn loss or something like that. I don't know exactly how it works, but I believe that's like a super low number, so I was pretty proud of that. Like, we played a really good game. So yeah, without further ado, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for hearing me out. I'm really sorry for making it this long. I really hope to sleep very soon. But thank you so much for all the support. I really appreciate the kind words. I did not think that it was going to blow up like this. I mean, in that very moment, in the heat of the moment, I was just very stressed, and I didn't know what to do, where to find support and comfort, and how to deal with the situation, because I didn't really know where to go to. So I just go to Twitter because, you know, everyone has been talking about this dress code stuff. So I thought, like, please revert this. But yeah, haven't heard anything from FIDE just yet. Did see the translation of the interview with the Norwegian TV, and they did it. The interview simply makes me look like I am an idiot wearing these kind of shoes when I wasn't. So yeah, what do you do? So all in all, thank you so much for all the support, guys. I really appreciate it. I try to go through the messages and replies on my Twitter, but for now, thanks for the support. I really appreciate it, and I hope to come back tomorrow with a recap. 3 more rounds, by the way, and hope to come back with a recap in a better mood. But for now, I'm going to take some rest, and hope to see you in the next video.